It's a time that you question your faith. You question what you believe God spoke to you about because of the difficulty of the situation. We faced moments of torture and moments of beatings and some things that I'm still not prepared to talk about. But there were also miraculous moments. In that maximum security prison, I had an encounter that changed my life. The day they let me out of solitary confinement into the public space, the courtyard where the other prisoners were, I learned that I was in what they call the D section of the maximum security prison. This is where men that are convicted of rape, armed robbery, drug dealing, all the serious crimes are kept. And I was considered a dangerous man, and that is where I was put. And I stood there on the first day trying my best to be as tough as nails. And I determined in my mind that even as a Christian man and as a pastor, if any of these men attacked me, I would fight. And if I needed to bite, I would bite. But I was not going down without a fight. It was strange, standing there. These four men began to approach me, and I thought, here we go. The worst things you've ever heard about a maximum security prison come flooding back into your mind. And these four guys began to approach me, and I clenched my fist. I was standing against the wall. Terrible environment we were in. The area we slept, you have it's not designed to be a place of comfort. It's designed to be a place that reminds you never to do what got you there in the first place. Obviously didn't understand that when you hear the rest of the story, because I came back over and over again. But on this particular day, I'm standing there, and these four men begin to approach. I'm scared. I'm shaking like a reed. And in my mind, I'm praying. I'm saying, Lord, if you have sent me on this journey, if it is really you, this is a moment I will see your hand. But if not, then this is probably a moment that I'm going to face a lot of pain. These four men come and stand in front of me. The first guy, his name is Charles. Big man, about maybe 6'2", 6'3". And he stands there, the four of them. And the first thing he does, he puts out his hand towards me to shake my hand, and he says, welcome, Pastor Ivan, we've heard about you. And he says, when we heard you came back into the country, we didn't know what they would do to you. So we began to pray. The four of us are actually Christians. We began to pray that God would bring you to this specific cell and not anywhere else. Let me tell you folks, I didn't know whether to be excited or to be mad at this man. Because in my mind I'm thinking, wait, what, you prayed that I be brought to this specific cell and the Lord answered that prayer? Did it not cross your mind to pray that I be let go home? How about we pray about that I go home? And he said to me, we knew that if they sent you anywhere else, that you would be abused. But the reason we wanted you to come to this cell is because you were doing for our families what we cannot do for them, because we're stuck here. So we want to do for you what you can't do for yourself when you leave. So as long as you're going to be in this cell, the four of us are going to look after you, protect you, and make sure that you are stronger when we leave than when you came. I don't know what other side you need at that point. This man's name was Charles. Charles is serving a life sentence for murder. He found God in prison, and he was such an amazing man. Some of the encounters we had, we lit up the cells in worship on one night. He said to me, Pastor E, I think we should worship. What do you think? And he says, I'm serving a life sentence. It doesn't matter what happens to me anymore. Let's just do it. And so we found some songs that everybody knows, and one particular night we began to pass a song from one cell to the next as we sang. And the whole place lit up. The guards came to knock on the doors, and they were shouting, we know you guys are making noise. We know it's this pastor guy. But at this point, what's the worst you can do to me? I face quite a bit. We're just going to do it. And I thank God for these experiences. My time is up, folks. We had so much that we faced and saw. I was arrested many other times that year. It's back and forth between Chikurubi and home. Left some of my belongings in the maximum security prison because I knew we would be back. And you know you've been arrested a little bit too many times when you walk through the doors of the jail cell and the guards just wave you in and they're like, hey, it's good to see you. But by the end of that year, 2017, we saw the departure of Robert Mugabe. We were able, as part of a larger movement that had taken place in the country, we mobilized millions of people on the streets to demand that he steps down, and he did. It was incredible. I couldn't believe it. I cried like a baby. And this journey that had begun with this small video and trusting God and a prayer had finally led to a nation having hope. I could tell you stories until tomorrow. The new government that came in didn't do any better. They made it worse. 2019, I found myself arrested by the new government again when we said to them, if you do to us what Robert Mugabe did to us, we will do to you what we did to him. And they said, take him. So ended up in the jail cell. I had been preparing to come back to be with my family, whom I hadn't seen for about 3 years because they took my passport and refused for me to travel, to leave Zimbabwe. But eventually I did make it out. We won the case. It took us a year to fight it and to win it. And came back home to my family in the US. At least what has become home. I'm proud of one thing as I tell you this story. Apart from what we did and what we saw and what we overcame, I'm proud that there are people like you that love people like us. You have no obligation to do what you do for us, and yet you do. And I'm not talking about the money, I'm talking about the fact that you drop on your knees and you pray for faces you will never see. Bob, you and your church risked your lives and went to Zimbabwe. I'm not sure you understand the kind of risk you took. And I want to thank you for doing that. I want to thank you for doing that, for believing enough that your life is not just for you, but that a portion of it must at least be lived for the benefit of other people. That is a life well lived. As far as I'm concerned, that is a Christ-like life. To offer yourself up so that somebody benefits from your life. The NACA team, you heard Elena speak. These guys do amazing work, managing and trying to network and draw support for the work in Zimbabwe. So I want to ask you to continue to be that way for us. If you cannot do anything, just your prayers, just your thoughts are enough. Because sometimes all it takes for a child to survive is for someone to pray that a miracle would happen. All it takes for a pastor in prison to have not a day, to have a day of no torture in prison is for somebody to pray and say, please help. Anyone who speaks up, anyone who stands by you, Lord. So may God bless you, may God do well for you. If I never see you again, may you live long, may you live strong, and may you do well for yourselves and your families. God bless you. Thank you so much, President.